It's a pleasure to introduce Ronaldo Alves Garcia, and good morning, everyone. I forgot. He is professor at Universidade Federal de Goiás, and the research fields are singularity, dynamical systems, and differential geometry. Today, Ronaldo will talk about families of curves defined by second-order differential equation and their singularities. Thank you, Ronaldo. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I will try to give the talk with some words in Portuguese, some words in French, some words in English. Thanks, Deborah and George, for the invitation. So today I will try to show some sort of differential equations that appear in the study of special curves on surface. And I forgot to mention, it's okay. I dedicate this talk to the memory of Pavel Walczak, that I work together with Remy in the subject of the Darboux curves. Today I present another kind of curves. Pavel is on the right. I can't write anything here. But today I try to present the three kinds of curves from differential geometry. There are special curves, they're Darboux curves, Kn minus H curves, and K1 minus K2 curves. All these kind of curves are defined by a general equation, a second-order differential equation like this. The coefficients change according to the three categories of curves, but is a second-order differential equation that has singularities. In this expression, I am supposing that U and V are the principal chart on the surface. So it's very long, this equation, but I try to show in the principal chart, there are a lot of simplifications of this differential equation. It's more suitable to do the analysis. But today I will begin, because I give this talk recently in Fortaleza. Today I will try to show another kind of second-order differential equation that appears in the study of a rotational surface in Rn. That the equation is this one. This is H is constant, non-zero. Is curvature, not a curve. Is P and Q are the dimension of the orthogonal group, that the action of the orthogonal group in R plus K. And this equation, the curve, this is a base curve of this codimension one hypersurface. And the goal here is to try to show you the local behavior of this differential equation. I will give only some very naive interpretation, but I think that it's clear that there are singularities here also. X and I, it's positive, is in the first quadrant of the plane. And I not write the equation, the hypersurface, the parameterization, but this work begins with Siang that reclassified the solution of this second differential equation in 5 types. I show in the picture the 5 kind of behavior of this second-order differential equation. Some of solutions have no singular points. It can be immersed or embedded. There are solutions with a cusp. Is not a very definition. Cusp is not the standard of the singularity. And I showed the picture here, the local behavior is like this. There are solutions that local have in this picture, this means that the solution of the second order differential equation. This is a solution that arrive at the boundary and go back. There are the position. This is a special value that I show in the sequence. What is this special line? This is a very special line. Here also in the vertical x0 also is a very special. And the problem that I will consider today is the behavior at 0. This curve here, I showed some global picture in order to present some behavior. The second order differential that I showed before can have a global behavior like this one. This straight line, the vertical line. This solution is asymptotic to this line in the future here. In the past is asymptotic to the horizontal line x0. Here the rotation number, we have a definition, but I not showed today the definition of rotation number. But even for open curves, we can generalize the notion of rotation. Here is a positive rotation, and in the right is the negative rotation of the solution. This is a only picture. This is a real picture. This is a numerical calculation of this kind of solution. And another behavior, global behavior. This is this green only to show the initial condition. The asymptotic behavior is this green curve. Not if anyone have a question, please. And
Aqui está fugindo do inferno.
Opa. Excuse me. The Xiang make a conjecture that in his paper that there is only one global solution with a cusp point at the origin. So he left this open problem. He made the classification of this kind of solution, but at 0 he put only a conjecture that we try to answer today. So the theorem is the following. I don't want to read this, but maybe it's more easy to only I give you just 5 seconds to read this text. But what is important for me is to show that the behavior at 0 that is summarized in the following picture. It's not so open here. So at 0 we have a solution that comes to the singularity 0 and go back, and there is a asymptotic to this line. This is I0. It is x0. In the global behavior, there is a specific angle that this separatrice of this singularity appear, and I show in the sequence. I show to the global behavior what we need to do in order to analyze near 0. So I come back to the problem. The angle is depends on the P and Q, and also the curvature of this curve is, you can calculate this. Is not so neat here, but we can the curvature of the solution of the two branches of the solution here, we can compute explicitly using the theory of invariant manifolds of vector fields. So what is the analysis? How we can analyze this? I repeat here the differential equation is the second order differential equation here, and what you do the usual thing that you transform this second order differential equation in a first order differential equation. This is this vector field here that we can normally we put x prime equals to cosinus, I prime equal to sinus, but as you have the singularity here, x and I, we multiply this, so this equation has analytic extension to all the plane. But what is important is to consider only x and I positive, so in order to analyze the behavior at 0. So this is a picture by hand. It's very not so complex, but there are a lot of singularities. There are lines of singularities. I think that you can see the mouse that so there are this line of singularity, this one, and this cylinder here is a blowing up of type cylinder. We make a blowing up in the variable x and I, and theta we put the identity. So you have a lot of singularities. Here in the cylinder, the phase portrait in this kind, there are focus points, and this is stable. In blue is stable, in red unstable. The other point is is opposite. The focus is unstable, and the red is stable. And this portrait is periodic in theta. The next picture is more easy to see. I don't show the phase portrait in the cylinder. Here is a focus, but maybe it can be a node. It's not always focus. Maybe it can be, but in this case, it is a repeller. In P6 is always a repeller here, and P5 in the cylinder is a tractor. These are the special lines that in this picture this stable separatriz of P6 is asymptotic to this line at the infinite. This is the horizontal line, and this one theta equal to P over 2. This another separatriz is asymptotic at the infinite. So this is a separatriz of the vector field that is asymptotic to this line, and the other separatriz is asymptotic to this vertical line. So I for this kind of differential equation, is just that I intend to present today. That is the global behavior, the local behavior of this differential equation near 0, and the global behavior of the solution is like this picture. This picture, so there are explanation for the cusp point at the coordinate x. For example, for a type of cusp is a unstable separatriz that is projected. This projector is on a point, and here is the other separatriz, the stable and unstable. So this picture of the focus here, this is a separatriz of stable of the singularity at P over 2, and here is the unstable. For the other, the same thing. So for each line of singularity here, for this line of singularity in here, we can explain the cusp of the type is B and C. The solution here in the theorem, I explain only the case E. The case B, C, and D also can be explained for this picture of the blowing up of the global phase portrait. The red here is at 0. The other one is the other point for non-zero. This is it's just the application of the theory of normally hyperbolic singularities of vector fields, but you need to understand well the this phase portrait globally near this cylinder. So I changed the kind of differential equation, and I will concentrate in the Darboux lines that subject I work with Remy and Pavel, and I still trying to work in this kind of curves with Remy. What is the Darboux curve? The definition is very classical, is due to Darboux. It's a generalization of asymptotic lines. It's instead of to consider the contact of a curve with the tangent plane, we consider the contact of the curve with the osculating sphere. What is the osculating sphere is, in terms of contact, the singularity is for each point in the curve, we consider the pencil of the sphere tangent to the curve, and we try to distinguish the sphere that has more contact than expected. When you make this definition, we found that the osculating sphere is given by this expression. This is the center is 1 over k and k prime over k squared, the torsion in the normal plane of the curve. This is the sphere. And in order to obtain this, here on the picture that you have a sphere that is tangent to the curve and has a contact of high order. And a Darboux curve is, now we consider the curve as an object of R3 at the same time as an object on the surface. So the definition of Darboux curves is when the tangent plane of the sphere coincides with the tangent plane of the surface at all the points of the curve. So this is the geometric definition of the Darboux curve. We obtain to obtain this, we can consider the distance function in order to evaluate the contact. We make the usual calculation. We take the first, the second, the third, the derivative of the distance, and put out the zero, and with this manipulation, we obtain. I skip all this calculation; it's not so important for communication. And we obtain this differential equation in terms of this is a second order differential equation. At the beginning, we can suppose that is a third order differential equation, but no. As you have this relation n dot with the c prime of the curve is 0, we can express this inner product in the terms of second derivatives. So it's not really a third order differential equation. So you obtain this equation. This is a second order differential equation, the derivative of c and n 2 times. And in order to give a geometric expression, we consider the Darboux frame of the curve. Is the definition is like Frenet, but we can take the projection in the tangent t small and bigger is the part of the tangent plane, and is the normal vector to the surface. And kg, kn is the curvature, and tau g is the geodesic torsion of the curve. So only to do the frame. After we did the calculation, we obtained this kind of behavior, this kind of differential equation for the Darboux lines, expressed in terms of the first derivative of kn, and we recall that kg is defined by a second order differential equation. Tau g is defined by a first differential equation, but implicit. And kn also is defined by a first differential equation, order differential equation. So when you take the derivative, you have a second order differential equation that has the expression that I showed before. I repeat here. So this after we perform the calculation, we obtain this expression for this is a second-order differential equation, ordering 5. It is homogeneous, like anything in differential geometry. Differential equations always need to be homogeneous, otherwise it's not a geometric concept. So in the left is 5, in the right is 5. So the derivative is, we need to make the balance of the derivatives here in order to obtain the homogeneous differential equation. And here I show the calculation. When we write this differential equation in a principal chart, this is there are a lot of simplification. Here, alpha is the angle of the principal direction. One principal direction, I suppose that is the first one. There are for any point on the surface, there are two principal directions. I suppose the coordinate axes are the principal directions, and alpha is the angle with one foliation of the. When you write this, you obtain a first-order differential equation, but singular. Look at the left here. There are the product of sines cosinus, and this implies a lot of singularities that you need to analyze. But here I express this in terms of this function, but at the first moment maybe is very strange to consider this complication, this kind of definition. But this is the subject that is the notion that are I don't know how to say this, but it's the notion of the here is this notation is the derivative k1 in the principal direction x1. Theta 2 is the derivative of k2 in the direction of x2. You observe that this when the theta 1 is 0, this corresponds a point on the surface that you call the ridge set. I don't know in Portuguese we call this the cumoeira. But in English is the ridge. It's the ridge set of the surface is when theta 1 or theta 2 is 0. When both are 0, we have a double ridge. And I look at again at the differential equation. Observe that at alpha equal to 0 and alpha equal p over 2, the left side of the equation is 0. So this is singular. This is a kind of differential equation that also is known as the impasse system. That when this alpha is 0 or pi over 2, this is another kind of singularity of the differential equation. Usually, the singularity is when the right side is 0. But here we have two kinds of singularities. The right side is 0 and the left side also can be 0. I see another only to the people that I forget to mention. All this formulation in terms of theta, mi, etc. This comes from the conformal geometry of the R3 or Rn. So this function theta 1, theta 2, and I can back here. This kind of object are invariant by conformal transformation. So we write this because the subject of Darboux curve is a subject of is Euclidean, but it's more the ambient of this kind of curve is more natural to consider the conformal structure of the space. So I already defined that what is a ridge point is when the derivative of is a critical point of the ridge point is ridge point is the point when theta 1 or theta 2 is 0. This is a ridge point. The next definition is you try to show the picture in this direction. Excuse me. I will consider two kinds of Ridge points. The zigzag is when the second derivative of K1 with respect to the principal direction, the corresponding principal direction is negative, and big to big when the derivative is positive. What is the difference here? Is the difference is that the behavior is very different. The behavior of the Darboux curve near each kind of singularity of the Ridge points. In this picture, the mouse here, this is the zigzag. The Darboux curves is oscillate. This is a cusp point, is the standard cusp point. So the Darboux curve is like a periodic movement here, but with the singularities at the cusp. The other one, there are the back-to-back is there are some Darboux curves that arrive at the singular set, tangent, but there are other Darboux curves that has cusp that not arrive at the singularity. And the explanation for this also is to analyze the vector field as I showed before, we transformed this differential equation. We have this correspond a three-dimensional vector fields, and you need to analyze the phase portrait of this vector field near the singularities. So the one singularity is theta is in this picture alpha equal to 0 or alpha equal to p over 2. And the behavior is very different for this is the back-to-back. This is when you analyze the vector field, we obtain a line of singularities that is normal hyperbolic of saddle type. So there are invariant manifolds that arrive at the singular set, and there are a stable invariant manifold that arrive at the singular set. So the Darboux curves are the integral curves of this vector field. For the order point, for the zigzag, the vector field is not hyperbolic. This line, the red line, is not normally hyperbolic, but this has not a type center, but we take the derivative is like one part is the type center. The transversal section here is the type center, but along this. The structure here is very special. There are cylinders that near the red line. There are cylinders that are invariant by the flow, but on the cylinder the orbitals are like hélices. They spiral, not close, but they spiral along the cylinder. And when you do the projection, you obtain this picture that I showed before here. Here, this is the solution of the cylinder, the hélice that projects in this kind of curves. And the other ones is the project of the saddle type projects like there's another behavior here. Only to give a global information that it's possible to any straight line or circle cycle is a Darboux curve. For the straight line, is very easy to obtain this because the kg is 0, is a geodesic, and k1 is also 0. So this derivative is 0. Kg is 0, k1 is 0. So any straight line is. For the circle, we take an inversion. I suppose that I forget to say this. But the Darboux curves are invariant by conformal transformation. So if you take an inversion of a line, you have a circle, and automatically a circle is a Darboux curve. Here we prove differently also if k is constant and tau is 0, the condition to circle, we can work with the Darboux frame and Frenet frame to obtain also this condition to show that this differential equation is identical to 0. But with inversion, is more difficult. Only we need to show that a straight line is a Darboux curve. I skip this, but only to mention that this is a sort of inversion problem. The question is the following: if you give a closed curve in R3, it's possible that this curve be a Darboux curve on the surface. In other words, I give a curve. The question: there are a surface contain the curve such that the given curve is a Darboux curve. For geodesics, this is very easy to obtain. For asymptotic lines, not so easy, but the construction it's possible to do. It's easy, but in order to avoid singularities, we need to take some care. For principal lines, que are other kind of curves that appear in the story of Darboux curve, this question is, for me, is a surprise, that a closed curve in R3 can be a principal line if only if the total torsion, the integral of the torsion along the curve must be a number that is a multiple of 2 pi. Is not in general a closed curve is not always a principal line of a surface contain the curve. And for the Darboux curve, the answer is that the only hypothesis that is necessary that is not on the curve is we need to avoid the points when the derivative of the curvature and the torsion is 0 simultaneously. So for this kind of point, we obtain singularities for the Darboux curve or for the surface. It's not, but this condition is not generic. So generically, any closed curve in R3 can be, we can construct a surface such that the curve is a Darboux curve on the surface. Here, only to show the Darboux frame and the Frenet frame are related by this kind of relation. The geodesic curvature can express in terms of the curvature and the torsion of the curve. The normal curvature also can be expressed, and the geodesic torsion can. And alpha is the angle between the normal of the curve, the first of Frenet frame, with the normal of the surface. So there are a linear equation relating the geodesic torsion and the this proposition. I come back to the differential equation. This differential equation, we can ask the following question: when the Cauchy problem for this equation can be solved? I suppose that I try to explain that when alpha is 0 or alpha is p over 2, we have a problem because this the left side is 0 and the right can be solution if theta 1 or theta 2 is 0. No, but if you take alpha equal to 0 and theta 1 not 0, so you have a problem. The left side is 0 and the right side is not 0. So there are some problems. The Cauchy problem, if you take try to obtain the solution at alpha to 0 and alpha alpha 0 equal to 0, so this equation has no solution. So this proposition shows exactly this. What is the local behavior of the Darboux curves in all in this talk? We don't consider umbilical points. It's very, very complicated. This is a problem to analyze. What is the behavior of the Darboux curve near an umbilical point? I don't know the answer for this question. Even for the Darboux, the elementary umbilical points that in English, lemon, monster, star, in the terminology of Sotomayor and Gutierrez is the Darboxian umbilical points. I don't know the answer. Even for this kind of umbilical points, for me, it's very complicated, the behavior of the Darboux curve near umbilical points. So all the time here, I consider outside the umbilical set. But as the differential equation is analytical, we can try to solve locally, taking the power series of the solution, the usual method of try to obtain the solution. So if you look at this expression, you can see that the first term, the dominant term here, is the t square et t the potence 3. So the local behavior of the Darboux curves outside the umbilical set, the heat set, excuse me, for outside the heat set is a cusp. So and here this picture, I tried to show this, that near the principal direction that I show here in red, the behavior is singular. For the other points, the solution that are small, regular solution, but maybe this curve will appear cusp in the neighborhood of this point. In the moment that I show in the quadrics, it's more evidence of this kind of phenomenon. So in the principal direction, this calculation here, it shows this, that outside the heat set, the behavior near here I put only the direction. This is horizontal direction here. For the vertical direction, change the order of the cusp. But in the principal direction, the Darboux curves at this point is not a heat, is not umbilical. Even in local behavior, the Cauchy problem have singularity along the principal directions. So in this sequence, I try to show global behavior of the Darboux curves in some special surfaces. I start with the torus, the Duplan-Cyclid. In this case, the Darboux equation, we can write if this differential equation. In this special case, U constant V here the parameters U and V is a principal chart in this parameterization of the torus. So when you look for this differential equation, you see that the U equal to constant and V equal to constant are solution of the Darboux curve. So in this very special case, the principal lines are solution of the Darboux curve. Why this case happens? Because the heat set of the torus is all the surfaces, so it's completely singular in terms of the heat set here. For both foliation, the heat set is the torus. So here I show a picture. This is not the torus, but an inversion of the torus, so the Duplan-Cyclid. As the Darboux curves are invariant by inversion, so this curve here are the principal lines, are also Darboux curves. Here, how are the other kind of the Darboux curves? I really, I write the differential equation in another way. Is the same as differential equation, and excuse me. What is that I want to say is that there are another kind of curves that also are the Darboux curves that are solution of this second or this implicit differential equation here, and I skip the calculation, but I want to show that in this picture is it's not so good at the picture, but I think that maybe is good. But the red curves are and white are the principal lines. In the picture here, there are another kind of solution that also are circles in the surface that you call the Villasol circles of the surface. So there are in the torus for each point pass 4 circles for this point, the principal line and these other curves that are circles that also are Darboux curves. And the other Darboux curves on the torus, I don't put the picture here, but the other solution of the Darboux curve are the helices, the toroidal helices on the surface. There are, in other words, are the curves that make a constant angle with the principal directions. If take for the mean lines that I explained, there are circles, are the bisectries of these principal lines. But if for each constant angle that you consider, these curves that are hélice on the torus are the Darboux curve here. I think it's more profitable to show only pictures. Not the test is not so convinced that the behavior in surface revolution. What is important on surface revolution is that we have this function here that I express here as an integral of a primitive of this one is a function like this. This is a first integral of the second differential equation. In differential equation, when we have a second differential equation in that you obtain a first integral, in this case is a quadratic. We can express the theta in function of v prime u prime, and when you have a first integral, the I equal to lambda, this is equivalent to this implicit differential equation of first order. So when we have a second order differential equation, we have a first integral. We obtain at this level of the first integral, we obtain an implicit differential equation of first order. So in order to analyze the Darboux curves on a surface revolution or any surface that have a first integral, we need to analyze the behavior of the implicit differential equation of, in this case, binary differential equation of first order. And in the principal line, in the surface revolution, we have the behavior that we can expect. We have here in the bottom left, we have the zigzag. So this is a possible behavior of the Darboux curves near a heat set of the surface revolution. Here also zigzag. In the top here is the back-to-back behavior. So it's only a a composition of the on the right is only a composition of these pictures. And here also, I repeat here to emphasize the zigzag and back-to-back behavior of the. Here is outside the singularity. Here is the critical point of the moment that we have a cusp along the heat set. In the ellipsoid, the behavior is. We can explain the Darboux curves on the ellipsoid. I showed this picture. I come back to this picture again, but in this picture here that I try to show, we have the umbilical points. We have the intention. This boundary here is a principal line above and the bottom. And along this heat set here, the ellipse that is a heat set, one familia is zigzag. In fact, in the ellipsoid, you have only zigzag behavior of the Darboux curves. Here's another situation is when the principal line is in the other family. Also, this ellipse is a zigzag. And here, in this part here, I try only to show that there are a return map here. We begin with this point, go to the other boundary, and come back. So we have here a return map, the Poincaré return map of the Darboux curves. So it's a diffeomorphism of the circle. It's equivalent to the diffeomorphism of the circle. So we can try to follow an orbit like this. We go back. The question is, it's come back to the same initial condition or not? This is well known in differential equation that the notion of the rotation number says the following: if the rotation number is rational number, so all these kind of curves are closed. If the rotation number is not rational, is a rational number, all these curves are dense in this cylinder region. So and we can compute this number explicitly in terms of the geometry of the quadratic. And at the bottom right, this picture, the goal here is to convince you that the intention we take. This is a family of circles. This is the 4 umbilical points of the ellipsoid. We take the tangent plane to the umbilical point and cut the ellipsoid by parallel planes. When we do this, all this intersection of this plane with the ellipsoid are circles, so are the Darboux curves. So the ellipsoid is foliated by 2 families of circles. So this is a very special situation of the global behavior of the Darboux curves on the ellipsoid. All the plane section that cut the ellipsoid in circles are we have defined 2 foliations by circles. If there are tangent, these families are tangent along the heat set. Here only to show you that there are a lot of calculations to obtain this. What you do here, we obtain the standard family of the quadrics, one parameter families of quadrics. For lambda equal to 0, so suppose A, B, C positive. For lambda equal to 0, we have the ellipsoid. So in this, when you move the parameter lambda in R, this kind of quadrics change. It can be a hyperbolic of 1 leaf or 2 leaves or the ellipsoid. And you can parameterization. We do the calculation here, and you can parameterize the quadratic in terms explicit in terms of this function. when we have this, we can calculate the first and second fundamental forms of the surface of the quadratic. We obtain the principal curvatures in terms of this chart U and V, etc. And you write the differential equation of the Darboux curves in this. This is a very special form of the differential equation of Darboux curves on the ellipsoid. Even in the other quadratic also, there are some modification, but it's the same equation. I think the time is and here also you have a first integral for the Darboux curves on the ellipsoid. We can compute this angle in terms of the derivative of V and U, and also a lot of calculation to blah blah blah. So I repeat again the picture. And as I said before, we can. Unmuted. I think it will stop. I don't know how to.
Okay.
Okay, finish. So you can compute the rotation number in terms of this integral of the coefficients of first and second of the first fundamental form, excuse me, and you have the return map that the Poincaré return map. And in this picture, these leaves all can be closer or all can be dense. I show. I think that the time is Deborah is 1 minute more or finish.
No, you have 5. Yes, 5 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes.
So
7
in
minutes.
this. Okay, in this, the other picture here is I consider the hyperbolic of one leaf, and here in the left, as the hyperbolic of one leaf is foliated by straight lines, these straight lines are Darboux curves. In the center, we have the zigzag, and here we have a back-to-back here, the zigzag in this here, but back in this direction in the frontal face, and here the bottom left. This also is a foliation of the hyperbolic one leaf by circles. This is for there are two families of circles that foliate, and in the bottom right is helices. This is a helices. Like the torus, this is a hélice that are the Darboux curves. So when we have the first integral that I show you here, where is this? Here. Depending on the domain of U and V, with this expression parameterize the ellipsoid, hyperbolic one leaf or two leaves. So depending on the situation, the level set of the first integral, we need to consider here there are a lot of singular value to obtain this. At the first time that we studied this with Remy and Pavel, we think that the hyperboloid of one leaf are not validated by circles. I suppose that the correspondent of the ellipsoid are the straight lines. But at the end, we analyze more careful the differential equation, and we see that it's the conclusion. If you eliminate this picture is we have a wrong conclusion. So we arrived that this hyperbolic is hyperbolized by circles because the inconsistency of the analysis that we did previously. In the hyperbolic of one leaf, of two leaves, I show only I think is more. I show only one connect component, so there are the same behavior. Here is a zigzag here in this direction. Here is zigzag. Here also is foliated by circles. This is a foliation of the hyperbolic of two-leaf by-circle. Here is the back-to-back. This is this line. The cusp arrive at this between the two umbilical points is back-to-back. And another point of view of these Darboux curves, it was shown by Santalot that the Darboux curves can be defined. Darboux defined this as the curve that the contact with the osculating sphere with the curve is with the surface. With the surface is more degenerate. Or Darboux curves are the curves that the tangent plane of the osculating sphere of the curve coincides with the tangent plane of the surface. But Santalot showed that if you consider this function, the torsion, the total torsion, the geodesic torsion, along curves that like this. We fix 2 points on the surface, take all the variation, consider this functional along all the curves that connect this boundary problem, and you try to obtain the critical points of this functional. What the Santalot shows that the critical points of this function coincides with the Darboux curves. So the critical point of this function are exactly the Darboux curves. And here, it's not so. So exactly this that I want to say is exactly this, that the Darboux curves also can be interpreted as the curves that are critical points of this function. In general, this is not extremo, is not a maximal or minimal of the. In general, this function is very complicated to. In general, this critical point are of saddle type. I don't know if the people that works in variational calculus, I don't know if the index of this Darboux curves is finite or not. And I repeat here the conclusion of the proposition that if we follow the approach of the Santalot, we obtain the same. And to finish the presentation, I will go direct to the conclusion. But this kind of functional that may be at the first moment may be strange, but for me, it's natural to consider this functional when we go to the surface of codimension 2 in R4. For me, to understand that the curves when Kn equal to H is this kind of Kn equal to H equal to 0, this defines the bisectors of the principal lines. This is the mean curvature line that I explained before. So this kind of functional it turns out relevant when we obtain that this functional is also invariant by conformal transformation. So if you consider the critical point of this kind of curves, consider the same problem of Santalot. Take the fixed 2 points on the surface, take all the curves connecting these, and consider the functional that are critical points of this functional. So we can compute this. We obtain that using the criterion of Weierstrass, that when we obtain these critical points, we can write all this kind of functional, depends U and V, U prime, V prime. The critical points are on a differential equation, second differential equation like this one. So this can be applied for the Darboux curve, for this functional. All this kind of curves they have the same aspect. And the differential equation of this curve also we can write this is another curve, but the kind of curves, the kind of differential equation is the same. Here, the singularities, here I write in the other way, but here the singularities appears when alpha equal to p over 4. This is the bisectrices of the principal direction. That is the lines of mean curvature. So the singularities of this kind of curves can be also interpreted, but not as a heat set, but in the direction that make an angle p over 4 with the, and also this kind of curves. If you consider this global behavior in the quadrics, up to now I don't understand very well the global behavior of this kind of curves, even in the quadrics. But in the torus, in the Duplan's Euclid, the behavior is like the Darboux curves. So exactly the same phase portrait, exactly the same solution of the Darboux curves, and dysfunctional are the hélices, total hélices. And the question is the only surface that they coincide or not? It's also a problem that we can try to solve. If this kind of surface is very special. I go to I don't consider this K1 minus K2 curves, but I go directly to the problems. A natural problem is to consider the Darboux curve in high dimension. I think it's clear how to the definition. I think is clear. We consider now a curve in Rn or n plus 1. You consider the hypersphere, the osculating sphere with the curve, and also we can consider the more degenerate contact and asking for this kind of the Darboux curve of the contact over order K. A question that I already explained, what is the behavior of Darboux curve near the umbilical points? Here I put the Darboxian, but in English, lemon, monster, and stars. And also another possibility to investigation is to consider foliation of three manifolds. For example, S3 hyperbolic, this three kinds of the geometry take the foliations of this regular foliation of these manifolds and try to analyze the structure of the Darboux curves on the leaves of this foliation. For example, think in S3 that in any regular foliation in S3 always has a torus as a leaf, the Novikov's theorem. So you can try to understand the behavior of Darboux curves near this torus. It may be this torus we can suppose that is a Clifford torus to make these things more easy to begin. I want to mention that a motivation for the study of the Darboux curves. My motivation is the study the dynamical behavior, but the Remy motivation is more concrete. He tried to apply, still try to apply, to study the conjecture of about the minimal surface of S3. There are it's already solved this conjecture, but the problem is what are the surfaces that the functional x square, the s, this functional, but not the curve, but the surface. This is a minimal. If the question is if the Clifford torus in S3 is the only minimal surface embedded in S3. This is the Willmore conjecture. It's related to Willmore conjecture, and Remy thinks that the qualitative behavior of the Darboux curves can be applied to trying to give another proof of this Will-Moore conjecture. So the behavior, the question, the conclusion here that the Darboux curves are defined by not only Darboux but the other 4 kinds of the curve that I present here. All the 4 kinds are second order differential equation singular, and we try to understand the behavior of the. For the first part of the seminar, this is a paper with Hilario and Gregorio that we answer the conjecture of Siang about this kind of hypersurface that are invariant by the orthogonal group of ordering P and Q. And here the second is a classical survey about the conformal invariance of curves and surfaces in dimension 3. Here the papers of the Gutierrez and Sotomayor about the behavior of the Darboux, of the principal lines on surface. Here is the original paper of Darboux that he make the definition of the curve that osculating sphere is tangent to the surface. In this paper with Sotomayor is the first time that we studied the global behavior of the lines of mean curvature. And here, this kind of line appears as Darboux curve in the torus. And here are the papers that I wrote with Remy and Pavel about the Darboux curves and foliations that make a constant angle with the principal lines. I observed that in the torus is the case. In the torus, the foliations that make a constant angle with the principal direction are Darboux curves. In the ellipsoid, not. Is completely different. The Darboux curves in the ellipsoid are not, but I show in this small paper here, we describe the global behavior of the Darboux, of the foliation that make a constant angle with principal direction. Here is an example where all the leaves can be dense also in the ellipsoid. So the usual Poincaré-Bennigsen theorem for the vector fields on surface is not happy for not holds for the foliations. So this is a geometric construction of this situation that we can make as a explicit example of leaves of foliation for one-dimensional leaves in S2, such that all the leaves are dense. And here is the paper of Siang that make the conjecture about the local behavior of the hypersurface of constant mean curvature in the singular case that I explained at the beginning. So thank you. Excuse me for the time that I think is over, but I think
Thank you.
Almost I did the talk.
Thank you, Ronaldo.